I can jump on to my crystallized intelligence and move into the world of mentoring, contribution, giving back, teaching, coaching. Because you can use that crystallized intelligence, which again, never dips, it just continues to grow for the balance of your life. Maybe you're thinking you might be a bit too old to become a coach. Well, let me tell you, coaching is one of the few professions in the world that you actually get better at with age. That is why thousands and thousands of skilled professionals, those that have lived a vibrant life, are turning to coaching in their 40s and beyond to light themselves up with a career full of meaning and purpose. In this episode, we're going to explore why that's the case and why coaching is the perfect encore career for you. Hi, my name's Andy Ramage. I'm the founder of the coachbusiness.school, the home of successful coaches. We're on a mission to create the next wave of accredited coaches, new to coaches, and those that are already accredited, and teach them in both the skill of coaching and the skill of business. When you bring those two together, you create successful coaches. Hence, the Coach Business School. Check out the notes below for all the links and details, and please subscribe if you enjoy these videos. Without further ado, let's get into today's conversation. Let's do this. Why coaching is the perfect encore career for you, for anyone over the age of 40, 45, 55, 60, 70, 80 and beyond. One of the common limiting beliefs I hear all the time in the Coach Business School is, am I too old to become a coach? Now, in many professions, that might be the case, but not in coaching. Coaching is one of the few careers, and do this reflection for me, one of the few careers that I can think of where you genuinely get better at with age. That is why so many people are turning to it as an encore career. I'm going to unpick that for you in a moment and explain what encore career means, and actually also how our intelligence changes over time, which supports such a career as coaching as an encore career. But before I begin, it's really to reflect upon coaching as a whole, why it's such an impactful profession. And when you reflect and think about it, very often coaching is one of the few arenas where those that are more mature, let's say, that have lived a more vibrant and wild, wonderful life, are often more successful. When I think about my own coaching heroes, Anthony Robbins is now in his mid-60s, I believe. Marshall Goldsmith, the world's most successful executive coach, is about 73 or 74. Dan Sullivan, the founder of Strategic Coach, is well into his 80s now. I think, again, 83, 84. Edith Eger, at the time of recording this, I think is close to 98 years old, still running 2-day seminars and workshops. 98 years old. Show me another profession where people are thriving at the top of their game in their 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. I'm struggling to find one, although I did find one recently, so I'm going to own that. I was watching a brilliant documentary about Sir David Attenborough, who's now about 98. So apart from Sir David Attenborough and the TV programs that he produces, I would say coaching is one of the only professions, genuinely, where you add gravitas with age. Now, think about this in terms of your life, right? Let's just say you're 60 or 70, and I've trained coaches into their 70s. And why not? I remember when I collected my master's degree in positive psychology and coaching psychology, there was a degree award went up, and one of those ladies that went up to collect their degree, I think at the time was about 78 years old. And I just thought, how incredibly wonderful, and why on earth not? Our brains are so wonderful, right, that we want to continue to stretch ourselves and develop ourselves. Therefore, as coaches, it plays into our hand. And think about this, in the arenas that we might coach in, it helps to have some extra stature and gravitas. I would say it's harder for a young coach than it is for a more mature coach. If you're a 25-year-old trying to coach 50-year-olds, I think that might be much more challenging than being a 75-year-old coaching a 50-year-old. I think you probably agree with that. Therefore, it's the greatest gift. That's why I cannot stress this enough. If you're thinking about it or you're already a qualified coach, this is the greatest arena ever, because We know from the brilliant research of Anders Ericsson that it takes 10,000 hours of deliberate practice or 10 years to become a master of your craft. So think about this. If you're 60 right now, by the time you're 70, you could be one of the world's best coaches. If you're 70 right now, by the time you're 80, you could become one of the world's best coaches. If you're 80 now, by the time you're 90, you could become one of the world's best coaches. And you might say, yeah, but that's too old. It's not. Edith Eger, I just mentioned, it's 98 years old, pretty much. 98. You could have started at 88 with Anders Ericsson research in mind, and by 98, being one of the world's best coaches. This is the beautiful thing about coaching. The only thing that's preventing you from starting or unleashing the opportunity to find meaning and purpose for coaching is you. And we tell ourselves stories like, I can't do it. I'm getting a bit too old. We're not. It's one of the few professions where you genuinely get better with age, which I think is incredible. Now, here's the reason. This is the important part. The reason is this. There's two types of intelligence: fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence is a little bit like our athletic prowess, for example. It tends to rise and peak probably around 28. So if you think about those athletes, many peak around 28 and then slowly it comes off as we age, right? That makes sense. But it's also the same very much academically. If you look at all the great physics, maths breakthroughs, very often they happen in the early part of a career around 28 to 30. And then again, that same fluid intelligence starts to dip away. But there's another type of intelligence that doesn't dip. And what's amazing about this, just as our fluid intelligence starts to drop in our 30s, our crystallized intelligence starts to meet it. And crystallized intelligence is almost like your library inside your mind, your collection of all your wonderful experience, books, knowledge, your wisdom effectively. And crystallized intelligence, unlike fluid intelligence, which starts to dip off in our late 20s and 30s, crystallized intelligence starts to pick up at that point, and it never stops. This is what the research looks to show. It never stops growing and developing. That is why there is two types of intelligence, and the really skillful people are those that figure it out. Let's reflect upon this. How many people in the professional space are trying to keep up with the kids, as it were, and finding it really difficult to do so in their 40s and 50s, and getting frustrated at the young guns coming through that seem to be a bit fitter, faster and sharper than them in their chosen profession. But actually what they're trying to do is they're trying to swim against the tide as their fluid intelligence starts to dip, rather than thinking, actually, here's the skillful thing to do. I can jump on to my crystallized intelligence and move into the world of mentoring, contribution, giving back, teaching, coaching, because you can use that crystallized intelligence, which again, never dips. It just continues to grow for the balance of your life. So you get better and better and better. Research shows that usually the highest rated professors in universities are often the oldest. The same reason. So the skillful way to jump on those professions is to unlock an encore career as you move into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond. What's an encore career? An encore career is exactly as it sounds. You've done your big push career, maybe the career that sets you up with your money, fills up those pension pots, as it were. And usually first main careers are more focused on money than they are meaning. An encore career is all about meaning and less about money. Caveat here, the Coach Business School, I'm all about you getting out into the world and contributing and adding value and generating income, but we don't lead with the money. We always lead with meaning. That's what it's about. It's a life of contribution. And an encore career is about meaning. How can you contribute? How can you serve? How can you maximize all of your hard-earned life skills, career skills, and do good with it? What a gift. So many people switch off They get to the end of their first career, which was all about money, and they put some money in the bank and they go, that's it, I'm out. I'm going to sit around for the rest of my days and sort of do some stuff to keep myself as busy as I can until it's all over. Right? And they shrink, mentally, physically shrink. There's no challenge anymore. And I think we're starting to see that actually that's the worst approach possible. But equally, lots of people come into retirement don't want to jump straight back into some really super busy career that's all about the money, and I totally get that. So the perfect option is to step into a career that's all about meaning, that's all about service, that's all about contribution, that doesn't come with those hard yards of that first type of career that's all about money. So a career such as coaching is the greatest gift. You can leverage all those years of wisdom in your career to open doors that others can't open, and coach maybe in your former careers, or coach in arenas where your life skills have developed and you've overcome obstacles, and now you can go back and help people facing those same obstacles. What a gift. And because this Encore career keeps you busy, stretches your wonderful mind, still generates income, so you're not completely reliant on pension pots or savings, and there's nothing to say you won't even become even more quote unquote successful in that arena, but it will light you up with joy, a sense of contribution, feeling like you mattered, and you never have to retire from it. This is the greatest gift. You want to set up a career that you never have to retire from, because why would you? Why would you retire from something you enjoy, that's adding value in the world, that's generating income, that's allowing you to feel like you matter? That's the greatest gift. Surely that's the greatest win in life, is to do something you never have to retire from because you love it, that generates the income that can look after you so you can live the most vibrant life, add value to people's lives, and you can keep going right up until the day you check out of this short and precious life of ours. That is the power of an Encore career, and that is why so many people in their 40s plus are turning to coaching for their Encore career. Hopefully you're excited about doing the same if you're not doing so already. Hopefully you enjoyed today's conversation and video. Please make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and do check out the Coach Business .school if you want to come and train with me to become an accredited coach, or if you're already an accredited coach, come and train with me to learn and master the skill of business and coaching. You can check out the show notes below or go to coachbusiness.school. Until next time, let's do this.